Assalamualaikum. Good morning to all the audience today, and good morning to our speaker today, Prof. Suhaiza. How are you, Prof?
Yeah, fine. Alhamdulillah. Thank you so much.
Alhamdulillah. I'm Muhammad Shahidi, the moderator for today's session. As we all know, today we are having a webinar titled Eco-Innovation as Solution for Sustainable Consumption and Production in Circular Economy. Today's program is being organized by Sustainability Unit, MPC, and being supported by Machinery and Equipment Productivity Nexus, and EPN, and University of Malaya. And today's session is actually the 15th series of a series of sustainability talk being held by the Sustainability Unit. We can, of course, check previous series via YouTube under the Circular Economy Malaysia channel. And for today's session, you guys can also participate and you can ask questions because there will be a kind of like chat box there where you can write your question, and I will surely check and forward it to our dear speaker. And that brings us straight to our speaker, Datin Sri Professor Dr. Suhaiza Hanim, Dato' Muhammad Zalaini. She is a Professor of Supply Chain in Faculty of Business and Accountancy, University of Malaya. Prof. Suhaiza Hanim Muhammad Zalaini received a master's degree and PhD in Management Science from Lancaster University in 1995 and 1998, respectively. She is a Professor of Supply Chain with the Faculty of Business and Accountancy, University of Malaya. She was a Director of the University Malaya Entrepreneurship Center, UMEC, for 3 years, and under her directorship, the center has been selected as the best 20 entrepreneurship centers in the world for the ACCSB Entrepreneurship Spotlight Challenge. In terms of her professional qualification, she used to hold a position as the Vice President to the Society of Logisticians Malaysia and hold the title of MLO GM. She has been certified with Entrepreneurial Leader, or we know it as ELP, by the Minister of Higher Education in 2017. Certified with Industry Foundation Program CIFP in 2013 by the Department of Standard Malaysia for Halal Quality Associate, and certified in Production and Inventory Management CPIM by the Association for Operation Management EPICS in 2006. Her field of expertise in supply chain management with a focus on the issues of sustainability and halal. Her achievement in supply chain management are excellent, as is evident by the number and quantum of postgraduate students that she has supervised, her publication, a lot of it, research grants, consultation, training, industrial linkages, and professional appointment that she has successfully secured and fulfilled. A long list indeed. Truly the best person for today's session. So I guess, Prof, without further ado, the floor is yours. Silakan, Prof.
Thank you, Mr. Shahidi, as moderator for today's session. Yeah, Assalamualaikum, very good morning. I'm glad to be here again for my second webinar with Sustainability Unit, from MPC, by MPC. I'm Suhaiza from the UC Malaya. The topic given to me today is on the eco-innovation as solutions for sustainable consumption and production for circular economy. As you can see from the title itself, is very huge. You know, you have everything in one title. You have eco-innovation, you have sustainable consumption and production. In fact, you have the circular economy. So what is the most focus point for today's sharing session? Yeah, I would say it is how actually we are trying to leverage the eco-innovations to help how we can be more sustained in our consumption and also as our production. Yeah, so not to say that actually this is quite new, but when we step back, one step back, talking about innovation, we cannot deny innovation is something that the enabler for the economic growth. But now eco-innovation is a new field. which are comprised of these techno and social kind of innovations, which purposely to help for the reducing the environmental impact. So because of that reason, now eco-innovation is becoming as a think tank to help out how the industry can be more sustained in their production, as well for the consumers to consume the goods from the producers. Okay, moving to the table of content. Yeah, next. Yeah, I have arranged the session to be in the 5 different topics. First of all, of course, I need to mention about what is the eco innovation is all about, because people need to understand how to differentiate in terms of technology, in terms of innovation that currently they have, and how we go about doing this eco innovation itself. Yeah, and then the second topic will be how we take this as our opportunity to help our firms, to help our business to become more greener, you know, to leverage on this sustainable consumption and production. And then of course, we are here to help you guys to further understand what are those things that we are really required in order to do or to go and achieve this sustainable consumption and production, and where need to be started. How do we start? How do we start this process? And last but not least, of course, I'll be sharing with you guys the tools, the framework, the business model, you know, in helping giving the directions, the clear directions for the firms to achieve this what we call as sustainable consumption and production, at the end to achieve the circular economy. Yeah, next. I think basically when we talk about this idea of this eco innovation, many people actually have defined it different ways. But make sure that the aspect, the key point is about how we actually putting the idea into our process. As we know, in our process, we need to depend on the inputs. Inputs are be converted in the process to become the output. I think many firms, regardless you are manufacturers or you are the service industry, depending on the input, yeah, you are depending on the input to get the output. So now along the way of this process, you are introducing the values. Now, by giving this eco innovation is to help the company how they are translating the input to become the output from these eco innovation tools, which purposely to reduce the impact of this environmental issue. Yeah, so which I think this would be another value which firms can take that as to be as their value that can be proposed to the customer, because customers are willing to pay for that values. Yeah, and this idea must be something that be economic to the producer itself. So if you want to do something but it's not economically, you know, from the aspect of producers, then it would be something which is not good to be proceeded. But again, must be economic, and do not forget that can be satisfied the customer needs. So now it is about how we are integrating these innovations to help us to introduce a new value in our product, in our process, in our business model. Yeah. Okay, next. Okay, now this is something that I would love to share with the firms, yeah, with the viewers today. Okay, actually it's about how we are giving the values that I mentioned just now from the inputs that by using the minimal use of natural resources. Okay, how do we go about this? Because people are saying to produce something, we need to depend on the inputs. And if we are required to use only minimal natural resources for per item or per unit output, so how do we actually proceed with the process? So therefore, we need to have this eco innovation to be embedded into our process, need to be embedded into our system, need to be embedded into our procedures, that at the end of the day will be satisfied the customer's need. Yeah. So now again, it's talking about input, it's talking about output. Input by using as minimal as you can the natural resources. Why we have to do that? You know, we cannot do the process, we cannot do the production if we only use the minimal value of inputs of natural resources. Now we have to step into biological technologies, you know, not only to get not only to use the natural resources to be processed, but again, we can also process the waste, the unwanted product, that can be recycled back to BSD inputs. Or we can use this kind of bio natural resources, yeah, to help us to be more creative, to be innovative, to make sure that at the end our outputs are releasing a minimum amount of this toxic that can impact to the environment. Okay, so the idea here is to help the company to look into the whole of the process that happen in the business, from the input until it goes to the end process, which is the output. Okay, you can refer to these diagrams, right? This diagram is very important to share with the industry, especially. Yeah. Okay, what are those innovation that we can talk about? Yeah. Okay, talking about innovations is not only referring to output, it's not referring to the product, it's not referring to the process, but it also can be referred to the management. It can be referred to the marketing. They also can be part of this innovation, but not in the form of technological. But we talk about the innovation in process, innovation in product. They are more on the technological aspect. Yeah. Okay. Now, eco innovation needs to have mechanism. Yeah, we can look from the diagram starting from the pollution control, which we are modifying our existing process. If we are not having capabilities, yeah, to go to the high end, at least we are doing some control mechanism in terms of pollution of the air, pollution of the water, pollution of the noise and everything. It is very a simple way how to step into this eco innovation. Yeah, so we have in Selangor, yeah, previously, like two or 3 weeks ago, issue in terms of the water pollution. So this is something that people have to be very concerned. If you're not capable in coming up with high end of kind of innovation, at least do some modifications to your system not to have this kind of issues in terms of pollution. Yeah, and then we can step one step ahead by doing this cleaner production, some kind of redesign to your system, some kind of redesign to your process by putting it the cleaner production. Yeah. So what does it mean by cleaner production? Or perhaps you embed with the this new technology for solar, for example, right? So you're not wasting your electricity. You are putting this idea of using the water base to give you some kind of energy. So perhaps it can contribute, yeah, to the greener of your process or your production. Or in fact, we can go step ahead by looking at this eco efficiency, which ultimate one, we want to make sure that everything is in place towards the ecosystem of our process to make it clearer, to make it more efficient. So we can look back at our current system, we can look back at our current design, how we can embed this eco-efficiency into our procedures and everything. Yeah, and then definitely we need to get some ways of alternative. Yeah, the from the top management goes down to the employee. They need to have like a cycle kind of thinking. Yeah, life cycle thinking is important to identify along of your process which one that contribute to the giving impact to the environment, and how do you overcome that, how do you improvise your system by coming up with some kind of solutions, yeah, not to have any more impact towards the environment. So life cycle thinking is another way how actually we can impose to the firms, yeah, to be absorbed or to be applied, yeah, in their business model. And then moving along, yeah, not talking about individual firm, we have to look into the whole ecosystem comprised from the supplier goes down to the customer. Closed loop production is another way how actually people can take it as another option for them to apply, yeah, in order to achieve this sustainability development in the organizations. Yeah, and then the ultimate one, of course, we're trying to get this industrial ecology. So perhaps this is a new co-creation, yeah, that actually we are planning to propose to the firms, to the providers, to the industry, so that they can have a systematic way how actually they're doing a business, a green business to a circular economy by emphasize on this ecological industrial ecology. Yeah, but you see, it is a way of evolutions. Yeah, but hard for us to go and achieve the end one if we not even try to get the first level to be done or to be applied in the organizations. That's why I said the firms actually think that, you know, I'm not able to do this because I'm not competent, I don't have the skills, I don't have the resources. But again, please go to the basic one, try to modify what that you have. Try to avoid not to have the pollution as a basic of this environmental impact. Yeah? So this way actually putting all these, the needs of this eco innovation to help the companies, to help the firms, how they can achieve the targets of all these what we call as eco innovations mechanisms. Yeah, towards the end, perhaps they will be giving back to the company the revenue. Because why? Not people are doing business because of profit. Sometimes, you know, I mean, some companies, they are non-profit oriented. They are looking for service, but do not deny the eco innovations is also needed for the services. Yeah, to make it more user friendly, to make it more better in terms of the serviceability. Yeah. Okay, next. Okay, let me go deeper. Yeah, what are those types of eco innovation that actually currently have or available, and what are those levels that we are talking about? Okay, talking about the individual firm, right? Of course, it's a very micro level of eco innovation. You know, you just thought about your own organizations. You just thought about your own firm. Of course, reflected back to your product, reflected back to your process, reflected back to your management, reflected back to your marketing. Yeah, so these are types of eco innovation that we can do at your firm level. It's very micro, but if you do it on your own basis and you're not being integrated with your supplier, with your customers, then no point. So again, you need to go another level, which make it happen to be throughout your supply chain. Yeah, so we not only talking about the eco innovation in the sense of individual level, or no, the firm level, but we also need to integrate this eco innovation into the supply chain level. Yeah, so I'm giving these examples from the international companies, what they have done, like Volvo. Yeah, they have been using these recycled materials. So instead of using the natural resources to become as their materials, now they are more concerned to use the recycled materials to produce the product. So less using the resources, the natural resources, that will be better to the environment, that will be better to the globe, to avoid this global warming, you know, to avoid all these issues, talking about this environmental issue. Yeah, and then like Bosch, they are using this remanufacturing aspect, that not only them that actually can do or can reproduce, but along the way of their partners in the supply chain also have the same capability, yeah, to remanufacture the unwanted items or the unwanted product or the waste product to be recycled back to be as another form of product. And ultimately, it's talking about economic growth, it's talking about economic performance, it's talking about the social welfare. So these are all about the outcomes or the impact, yeah, by having this eco innovation in the firm level, supply chain level, and goes back to the nation as a whole, yeah, the benefit of it. Yeah. Okay, next. Okay, this, as I said just now, is about eco efficiency. Perhaps people might be confused. What got to do with this eco efficiency? You know, by having this eco innovation is in a way to help the companies to be a producer of this eco efficiency kind of aspect of business. Yeah, so I think people are aware about the importance of this eco efficiency. People are aware about this sustainability. Okay, they have stepped forward, you know, to produce a product which less environmental impact. Yeah, you know, from the output being produced per unit or per service, they actually try to have that in their production, less environmental impact. So now, as a new aspect for this sustainable production and consumption, we need to embed with this eco efficiency, which we are measuring in terms of product or service value per environmental impact. It is not only solely on the environmental impact itself, but you need to see what could be the output that you produce over the impact that you are you know, have in your system or in your process. Yeah, and then now new focus now is how you're measuring the resources that you use. Yeah, the input that you use that can create or impact the issues or the environmental issues at the end as part of your output. So now you can see, you know, if people are aware about the importance of this, people are understand, yeah, they understand the flow of these new concepts. I think at the end, most of the companies, they can achieve this eco-efficiency in a very efficient way. Yeah, so companies must be as a leader, you know, in sustainability, and how to go about it is to become more innovative, right? So be as sustainable leaders. You need also to become as a leader for this innovation. Yeah, and this, as I said earlier, talking about innovation, talking about eco-innovation, they are drivers towards the economic growth. Yeah, so as a whole of the businesses ecosystem, right? So I think this would be some kind of directions where to move forward to achieve all these what we call as sustainability development. Yeah. Okay, next. Okay, now again, how actually eco innovation to improve eco efficiency? You know, is a back to your process, your input, your process, your output. Again, the objective is all to reduce all this negative impact, right? And we want to improve all the good things about, you know, having this eco innovation that can help our business to become more user friendly, to become more eco friendly. Yeah. First of all, talking about your materials, we try not to use as much as our natural resources to become as our materials. That one thing, yeah. So we have to be smart enough, we have to be creative enough, innovative enough to use all this innovation to use the recycled things to be part as our materials. And then we make sure that along the way, our output, we are not producing output that actually contain the toxic to the customer, which is not good to the health of the customer, not good to the environment. So try to reduce that. You know, by this eco innovation, that one of the ways, yeah, how we can use it to help us not to be sure that the end our product is not having that. Yeah, enhance recyclability. Yeah, and then we increase service intensity, extend the product durability, and make sure at the end maximize the use of renewable product. So we can only complete all this if all the ecosystems are doing in the right way, right? So if my firm is only doing this, but my suppliers are not, my customers are not, then I'll be having a problem. It is not being supported, right? So to achieve this in a way, firm, we have to ask whether am I innovative enough? Am I having this eco innovation in my company? So if I do, then I need to let my partners, my suppliers upstream, my customers downstream also having the same direction as me. Then it will be easier for me to catch up or to meet the directions toward this sustainability or circular economy. Yeah. Okay, next, Darul. Okay, now, what are those? I keep saying about eco innovations. I keep saying about this eco efficiency. I keep saying about the sustainability, circular economy, and what are those things? So these are the main facets, yeah, of the eco innovation. You have the mechanisms, you have the targets, you have the impact, right? It is all connected. It's all connected. First of all, you need to have to make sure that all the mechanisms are well, you know, well established. You need to have a mechanisms that can be focused on those areas that you need to be champion in, you know, in your process. Yeah, it can be started from eco design. Okay, you can start with your product that have this eco design. You can start to improvise your system. You can start with improvise your process to embed with this eco design in your process. You know, and just do a sort of like a new way how you're doing a business by putting this eco thing in your business model. Yeah, and then we can have eco production. We have cleaner technologies. We have cleaner productions, and not to forget, yeah, although you have done with the complete product, you have actually completed all your production, but before it can reach to the end customers, you need to pack those things. Packaging is another medium, yeah, that very crucial for the companies to really concentrate, to really give some attention how they can use it to become in the terms of eco packaging, because we don't want at the end customers are receiving the product and the packaging been disposed everywhere, and you are building up those in the landfill. You are dispose those boxes, those packaging in, and build up your wastage in the at the landfill. We don't want that to be happen. So in fact, they have used the product, so the packaging, for example, can be recycled back. But then it's depending on what types of packaging materials that producers are using. If those packaging are not suitable to be redo, not suitable to be recycled, then again it's a waste to the both side, the consumer as well the producers. Yeah. So again, along the way, talking about production itself need to embed with this eco innovation, as well the customer also need to be aware about this. Yeah. And then eco labels. Yeah, eco labels. The labeling that you have in your packaging also need to be at least some kind of eco innovation that need to be embedded there. And then we have biotechnologies. Yeah, to avoid from depletion of our natural resources. So therefore, we need to have expertise. We need to have some skills, how we are using these existing materials to be converted to become as our materials for the production. Yeah, and then digital technologies, physical technologies, and then move forward. Definitely, we cannot forget, the secondary kind of supporting systems, right? Solid waste management, water treatment, air pollution control, waste treatment, renewable energy, noise, solar energy, recycled materials. So these are sort of like enabler towards the mechanism. Yeah, so mechanism of these eco innovations. And definitely we want to achieve the targets. What are those targets? We need to provide with this some kind of nature protection. We need to come up with some things of what you call as resource efficiency, industrial ecology, eco efficiency, environmental management, green business, circular economy business. So these are the targets actually we have to put in place, that everybody when doing business, this supposedly to be part of the targets or objective of the business. Because why? The end is to achieve or to give a huge impact, to give a good positive impact to the nation as a whole. Climate mitigation, not the nation only, the world as a whole. Yeah, climate mitigations, low carbon economy, carbon footprint, green economy, circular economy, bioeconomy, sustainable development, and the end people can live peacefully, people can live heartily, in the nation as well in the world. So you can see that sort of like few quite a lot of different kind of terms that we're using, but I think that the purpose of it, the definitions of it actually almost the same. It's like how we actually converting the input, how we are process the input, how we are coming out with the output must be in the greener way, so that we can get all this impact to be to be achieved towards the end of our business. Yeah, so it is not only the interest of the firm, but now it's becoming the interest of the government. How we can help the firms, how we can help the industry to go along with this kind of aspirations. Yeah, I think now in Malaysia, we have started to expose the industry with all these kind of terms: climate mitigation, low carbon economy, carbon footprint. But now the question here, are they aware about the importance of all these terms? Are they aware about all these concepts? And are they willing to help the government to achieve all this impact? So now we have to go back to the industry. If you're not aware, then we need to educate them. We need to train them. We need to give them some kind of guidance how they can go about in helping the government to achieve all this good impact. Yeah.
True,
okay.
true, true, Prof. That while it is still hot, while you are talking about awareness, there's one question from Mr. Vincent Ng. He mentioned that we are involved in a solid waste management and have imported gasification technology to convert it to renewable energy and production of graphene. Is there a way for us to apply for grant to implement this project in Malaysia? So he will appreciate your advice. And there's another question, from Sarah, but it's about sharing slide. We will be sharing the slides later. But I guess maybe
Okay, thank you for the question asked. I think that would be a good way, because now people are doing a global business. They are using the global partners to provide them with the machines, to provide them with the equipments, to provide them with any high-tech technologies, for example, the skills. So if we are not capable, if you actually in terms of the resources, right, in terms of the funding, I think nowadays government is open up, for the green technologies fund, for example. I think if you go about it and put it a proper paperwork to the government, to the banks, I think there will be a way actually people this can be helped. It can be some kind of solutions can be there. You can apply grants, you can apply funds. I think must actually they do have the grants of innovation. Even us like professors, academic, yeah, we always been informed by the ministry, right, that there's some kind of grants that we can apply to help the industry how we can go about with these green technologies. Yeah, so if we are the scientists actually doing it, I think the industry itself would be much better to get the grant itself, right? How they can go about in their own company, that would be better, I think. Yeah, so there is a available kind of funds actually, I would say. Yeah, the schemes that you can apply. Yeah, okay, I think next slide will be on the second subtopic, which on the, okay, we have gone through just now the at least some kind of understanding what does mean by eco-innovation, what are those mechanisms actually can be embedded, and what are those targets and impact. And now how we leverage that into our system, how do we leverage that into our productions, and how do we leverage that into our consumers consumption. Yeah, because most of the industry now, they are facing the issues unsustainable consumption and production. Now we have to improve that to become more sustainable. Therefore we have this sustainable consumption and production, and but how we go about it. Yeah, so coming back to the whole of your series of process. Yeah, starting from your product design, goes down to your end of life disposal process. Yeah. So these are very typical processes that happen to be in every types of businesses, right? So you have product design, you are sourcing, you are producing, and then you are doing some packaging, logistic things, and then you need to market them, and then the consumers are using it. Towards the end, consumers are throw it away, right? So these are among the typical processes involved, right? But along the way, you can see here, both parties must be responsible. Not only talking about the producers, not talking towards the production side, but on the consumption side, consumption side, which is from the consumers, need also be responsible. Yeah, so I have shared in the previous webinar, along the way of your supply chain, you have value chain, you have all these efficiencies that has to be identified first. And what are those opportunity of this eco innovation to comes in to mitigate or to reduce or to improvise those inefficiencies to become more efficient. For example, resource depletion, forest area reduction, because we are keep using the natural resources, for example, right? So by doing that, then our natural resources becoming less and less. So what happen in the future if there is no more natural resources left for our kids, for our grandchild? Yeah, so this is the issue that actually now we are trying to help the industry to become more innovative, to become taking this eco innovation, how to use the recycled materials in their production. And then during your production itself, you are contributing towards the pollution, right? So this can be avoided if you are taking this eco innovation into your system. And along the way, goes down to your supplier, goes down to your customers, and you are ready with your product. Then again, on our side as consumer, we are now must be part of this system. We cannot just be as, okay, I'm the user, I'm the consumer, then my job is only to pay for the product and using it. That's it. No, we have to change that behavior. We have to change that mindset, right? The responsibility for the sustainability is not only at the production level, not at the producers level, but also now need to also focus to the consumers. Yeah, consumers' behavior need to be changed, right? So therefore, we can see now in Malaysian scenario, we do have all these recycle bin. But to how much household are using it, the recycle bin, you know. In fact, we have the awareness to do that. But when we look at the packaging, it says here, it's not renewable, cannot be recycled. Then it's no point actually you're putting it in a recycle bin. Might as well we throw it in a dustbin. Then again, you are building up your trash at your landfill. So this is the thing that actually, if customers are aware about this, but the product itself is not sustainable, then how the consumers will align with the aspirations to go for this sustainability, to take advantage of this recycle agenda, if the product itself is not recyclable friendly, for example. Yeah. So in order to do that, producers make sure your packaging, your labeling, everything also must be renewable, must be easy to be recycled. So towards the end, consumer can have the opportunity to let those the unused packaging can be recycled. Yeah. So now rethinking both sides, consumers and producers need to be done. Yeah. So this actually is one of the goals, yeah, in the SDG, yeah, for the goals number 12. If you remember, there are 17 SDG, yeah, the Sustainable Development Goals. So this sustainable consumption and production is one of the goals that actually for the country to go for this sustainable development. So you cannot take it lightly. Yeah, we have to take it seriously. You know, along the way to achieve this sustainable development, both parties need to be responsible. But again, it is like chicken and egg. As a consumer, I want to do this, but the product itself is not recyclable kind of product. So how do I can do that? I cannot do that. Yeah. So it coming back to the questions, why producers are not doing that? See, so it is like chicken and egg. So if everybody talking the same language, then it will be easier to achieve this 12 SDG. Yeah. Okay, next. Okay, now, so what this SCP is aimed at, yeah, the aims of it actually is to get a better life, quality of life. It's not only about talking about the system, talking about the process, the impact to the environment, the impact to the nature actually is coming back, you know, to let all the society, to let all the human to have a better of life, yeah, and then to introduce this low carbon and resource efficient society. So by doing this SCP, you know, both sides, the providers and also the consumers, can enjoy this kind of low carbon or resource efficiency. Yeah, and then the nationwide efficient and prosperous the economy and have a safe and healthy environment. You know, it's easy said and done. Yeah. So, but now how do we are going to achieve all these aims? Applying the life cycle thinking. Applying life cycle thinking, you have to go back to your production and consumption process. There are three types here: cradle to grave, cradle to cradle, and cradle to gate. Right? So now people can ask, where am I? Am I applying cradle to grave? Am I applying to cradle to cradle? Am I applying to cradle to gate? Okay, so what are these process that we are talking about? Yeah, next. Next. Yeah, so cradle to gate, I think previously this actually is a typical trend. People are doing a business, right? Okay, just the life cycle of the product is only partial up to distribution. So my job is only to produce the product. My job is only to produce the goods up to the distribution. Then let alone the consumers behave on their, you know, what they will do with the product at the end. Yeah. So it's only the responsibility is only up to the gate, yeah, cradle to gate. But later on, we realize that now producers are aware, producers are concerned about environment. Now they step forward to go for the cradle to grave. Yeah, cradle to grave, they have all the life cycle, yeah, starting from the raw materials, goes down to the distribution, then also embed the aspect of this repair, maintenance, as well the disposal. But up to that, you know, disposal thing, yeah. But now to become more holistic, to become more comprehensive, we have to encourage company to go for cradle to cradle. You know, not only up consumers are using your product, but let alone those the unwanted one, those the used one, you know, to be recycled back to the company to be reused, recovery, recycle and remanufactured. Yeah, so you can see the evolutions here from cradle to gate, cradle to grave. Now we are more concerned if companies can apply this concept cradle to cradle, but how much people are willing to do that, and how much actually capital or investment need to be done to go for this cradle to cradle, right? So capabilities are necessary. Whether you are capable or not, you know, then you have to ask yourself, then what are those assistance that you can require from the government to give you some kind of funding, to give you some kind of training, to give you some kind of educations to go about doing this cradle to cradle. Yeah, so if you're not competent, or perhaps you can ask your partner in your supply chain be as your partners to do the recycling thing, for example. Yeah, that also another alternative that actually businesses can think about. But along the way, this is what we call as life cycle thinking. Yeah. So next.
Okay, Prof, before we go to the next, after cradle to cradle is something that we aim for, yeah?
Yeah.
And there's a question by Miss Annie Mittin, where she asks, how can extended producer responsibility be effectively implemented in Malaysia? I think it's like the concept of cradle to be implemented in Malaysia beyond corporate social responsibility, not just CSR. So you see areas that
That is very good question. That's very good questions. Thank you so much for the question. Now we have to move forward, not only to do this because of part of our CSR, right? Not only part of our CSR, because we know CSR is coming back to the society, it's coming back to the environment, but some people are talking about the revenue as well, right? So now to make sure that everything can be sustained, so we have to, you know, step ahead, not only to be as our CSR, but make it a standard version of this CSR to become as compulsory, although it's not mandatory by the government, but you yourself can perceive it to be as mandatory to your company, that you will go along the way to achieve this aspiration with all those other players in your chain. Yeah, so it's beyond that. Yeah? It is not only CSR, but make it as compulsory for the company to go and apply of this sustainability agenda. So towards the end, you will get the revenue, government will get some kind of revenues, and you're helping the nations to be more greener and more sustainable. Yeah. So then coming to this slide, yeah. So this actually is circular economy. Yeah, because why? Biological materials being produced, then becoming as a output, becoming as the outcome, becoming as the product, then again be used by the consumer, be used by the customer, then again after they have used it, dispose it, and come back to the company to be recycled as another materials. So it is like a loop of two cycles from the beginning materials itself, and then when in the stage of the consumption from the by the customer. Yeah. So technically, you can see here, we need to have biotechnologies, surely, right? Therefore, how much actually we do have the knowledge talking about these biotechnologies. And of course, we are depending on the physical technologies. We are depending on the digital technologies. So innovation cannot be run away from technologies. You have to embed these technologies into your system together with your innovation, that you can you can have a full flash of this kind of sustainability agenda. Yeah, so I love to share this diagram because it shows clearly where the company can flow towards the process from the beginning of the materials until it comes back to their factory to be as another version of materials that can be recycled. But from my session last few days with the industry, I think the awareness is still lacking. Yeah, they're not aware that actually this can be done. Yeah, this can be done. So from the design stage, you have to think what can be done, what can be designed, so that this loop can be achieved. If your product design or your process design is not complying to this loop aspect, then hard you can achieve this agenda. Yeah, so the first step need to go back, redesign the whole of your business model. Yeah, okay. Okay, I think next slide, please. Okay, this is what I see as a life cycle thinking. You can see it is very complex. In fact, in the real life, it can be more complex than this one. But this is only the basic one lah. That we do have the enabling environments, yeah, inside your own process. Yeah, we need to have policy that's coming from the government, some kind of regulations, some kind of procedure, some kind of guidance or guidelines need to be prepared by the government, policy, for example, right? And then it has to be in line with the technology advancement that we have at the moment. Now Malaysia is currently, we are using for this IR 4.0, but again, are we really IR 4.0? We are not yet. So again, whatever policy been developed or been proposed by the government need to be in line with the technological innovations, yeah, the advancement that we have in terms of technology. Then again, these all are being pressured by the market forces, right? We are consumers, we are creating a demand, and consumers are different. Some consumers want to have this, some consumers might have that. So the providers, the firms need to be aggressive enough, in make sure that they are fulfilling all the demands from the customers. And customers demanding a lot because of the lifestyle, because of the technology, media social, because of the information's being everywhere in the internet. Because of that, they are keep asking for new things from the providers. So providers need to take that as a challenge, come up with a new values, what you are proposing to your customers. Then people will be appreciated with the product. And to achieve this life cycle thinking, so the surrounding must be in place. Yeah. Then the internal process of your recycling thing would be easier if the environment enablers are conducive enough to help the firm to execute for this environmental management. Yeah, so this is only like a very brief ecosystem that you see, when people are talking about this CE, talking about this sustainable production, so on. But again, if you go deeper and deeper, the whole ecosystem would be more complex than this one. Financial institutions also must play a very important role, as what one of our guests mentioned about just now, right? How do we actually get some funding from the government? So therefore, we need to think about this. People are ready to go for this eco-innovation. People are ready to go for this sustainable production. But is there any supporting grants for that? So now government has to take that as another thing need to be considered or need to be in their agenda for the budget. Yeah. Okay, so this is the life cycle that need to be considered, what we call as life cycle thinking. Okay, next, yeah.
Prof, I would like to remind that now it's 10:47, yeah, Prof. So,
oh, okay, sorry. So
yeah.
I can just go quickly. Okay, I like to go and use this example to be as our topic of discussion. You take these two products as your example, the shirts as well the mineral water. When people start to design these two products, what do you have in mind in terms of the eco product and the ecosystems, right? So make sure at the end the product, the bottle that you're using for your drinking water can be recycled. So identify along your value chains where are the gaps that you can embed this recycle thing by using this eco innovation. Yeah, so this is a very typical example that you can see. In fact, I can share you with many examples, like a bakery, right? They are using the eggs to bake a cake, right? So once they have used all the eggs, what will happen to the shelf of the eggs? They just throw it as a dustbin? No, the shelf can be recomposed, can be decomposed to become as fertilizer, right? So if they're aware about that, so they can generate another income, another revenue, just simply by creating that another skills to decompose the egg shelf to become as another product of their business. See, so this is the way actually we're thinking about. Okay, next we are moving. We need to move it quite fast now. Yeah. Okay. So along the way, we need to have the SCP drivers to ask the question of why we need to have that. Yeah, both, yeah, the consumers and the producers. SAP enablers. Now the government has to play a role, come up with the policies, come up with the regulations, you know, come up with the some kind of mapping to help the industry. And what are those SCP techniques that we need to know how we are going to do that. Yeah, so the eco innovation comes in to be as drivers, as supporting towards this idea of this SCP. And towards the end, yeah, next, SCP is helping us to get this next, Darul. Yeah, then once we have this internally that our SCP is according to what we are trying to target, according to what we have targeted, then easy for us to get the circular economy. Okay, next. Okay, our third sections will be on this question, you know, how we go about doing it. So there's a question that we have to ask some kind of changes, yeah, from traditional innovation to the eco innovation. The questions of what, how, who, what are the core skills are needed, what are core capabilities are needed, and how long will be taking. Yeah, so people when do this eco innovation might need to be considered these 5 questions. Okay, next. Okay, so these are the 3 key areas. First of all, need to think about eco product. Eco product leads to your eco process, right? Then you will lead to your eco organizations. Okay, so these are the key 3 key areas. Yeah. Okay, I don't think that I'll be going through all the slides. Okay, you can move to the next slide, Darul. Yeah, next slide. Next slide. Okay, this is the one. No, next one. Okay, yeah. Design aspect, design of waste, design of upgrading and modularity, design of reuse. Okay, I'm giving some examples here that people can use this as some kind of benchmark, what people have done before and how they're doing it. So you can refer to this example, yeah. Okay, next. Next. Okay, next. Next. Okay, this is the last one. This is okay. How to go about it? Yeah. So rethinking again. Yeah. How to create this value co-creation. You know, from these eco innovations that you have to rethinking. Again, life cycle thinking, rethinking. All those need to be reassemble into your business plan. Yeah. Okay. Next. The last section will be on this. What are the tools, methods, and best practice? Okay, I would like to share you guys. Okay, this one. Okay, I'm now currently attached to MPC to investigate or to study on this. You know, so we have identified few options of the SCP, sustainable raw materials, greening supply chain, blah blah blah. You know, because along the way of your value chain, we have identified these are the options how actually providers can go about it. But we don't know to what extent these have been done, and then what are the tools that are related to this eco innovation. Yeah, so the indicators here is very useful to help the companies to understand how these SCP options can help them towards the sustainable development or circular economy. Yeah, so that will be the question mark. Will be my job to do that, to survey, to study what are those levels or those techniques are required. You know, that related to this eco innovation. Next. Then by getting that results, I'll be doing some mapping. Yeah, I'll be doing this mapping, and this mapping is very important for MPC to use to come up with the roadmap. Yeah, to come up with this, some kind of template to help the organizations, what kind of tools, what kind of checklists, what kind of procedures, what kind of methods are needed to go about in doing this green economy or to go about in doing this circular economy. So, but again, different quadrants will have different types of tools. Different quadrants will have different types of requirement. That's why we need to understand first, what are those attributes, what are those characteristics that we can map out all those companies into this quadrant. Then we can help them how to in line with their business model so that we can achieve this circular economy. Next. Next. Okay, this is a new business model. Yeah, putting this eco innovation into it, putting this sustainable idea or agenda into it, then might need to be leveraged by the industry. Yeah, then next. Okay, last but not least, these are the challenges. So quite a lot challenges, yeah. To go for something new, even though you only do some a simple kind of innovations. Again, you have to take some challenge in doing it. Now you're talking about eco innovations. So I think by the helps from the government, by the supporting environment that you have, perhaps these challenges can be taken up as your opportunity. Yeah. So once you have this as your opportunity, then it will be easier for you to leverage and to step forward and to implement it successfully and achieve the target and give a good results, a good impact to the nation as a whole. Okay, I think by that, yeah, I think almost towards the end of the presentation. Next slide. Yeah, so these are the agents, yeah, for the SCP. Consumers, SMEs, finance sector, scientists, academics like us, we have the expertise. We can help the industry how they can go about to have these sustainability equipments or sustainable process and so on. We have the businesses, we have the policy makers. In fact, we can take advantage of our MNCs, which very successful in doing this sustainable production. We can take some kind of best practice from them to be applied in our organizations. Yeah. Then I think that's all by towards the end. Yeah, my presentation. Am I exactly time limit?
Yeah. You are still on time. We are now at 10:55.
Okay,
And
so we have another
there
5
are
minutes
actually,
for Q&A.
there are actually quite a few questions. This is quite an interesting topic. So one of it is from Ms. Hafizah Said. Do the companies involved in circular economy will require a different set of talents or skills to move forward? And how to get the buy-in from companies to adopt CE, circular economy? And can I just then to the next one? Next one is more on views. My view, SCP requires shared responsibility. Policy is not only the responsibility of government, but also the organization. Yes, the same as your slides. And last, collaboration is the way forward. So the question is, do you need a special different set of talent or skills to move forward?
Yeah, that's one of the enablers. Yeah, the skills, the knowledge, the capabilities, the competencies are all of them need to be in place. Yeah, because we need to understand first what are those mechanisms that are required. If we are not really understand the reason why we are doing it, we are not really understand what are those targets that we are trying to achieve, then we'll be having hard time for us to convince the top management, will convince our employee, will convince our people. So as a whole, yeah, so the skills, the talents, the equipments, the materials, the capabilities all need to be in place. So that's actually the reason why MPC is doing the research to help the industry, how they are tackling the issues that they have, to upgrade in terms of the skills, to upgrade in terms of their, knowledge in terms of the CE. So it is not a kind of one day kind of concept that can be implemented. It has to be process need to be involved here. Take step by step, understand first the requirements, and come back to your company, come back to your process, see where are you fit into that, and what can be done from that. And that's why my topic today, I'm putting it in a very series of questions that you can ask your company, you can ask you can go back to your own system, see where your company is heading to, right? So then if you don't have that skills, you don't have that talent, then again, because we need to have a people that really understand what this aim is all about, then easier for them to implement or to execute those ideas. Otherwise it will be very hard. Yeah. So again, need to have a different set of skills, different set of perhaps I would say talents, yeah, or mindset of people also need to be changed. Yeah, that's the most important. The behavior, the culture, yeah, the culture need to be abandoned, to the system.
As you mentioned just now, it still takes a lot of work. It will still take a lot of work for us to achieve the goal. But masa mencemburui kita, Prof. So we have to kind of wrap it up. But as for today's session, you can actually watch it again later. and MPC's YouTube channel, Driving Circular Economy for Productivity and Sustainability. That is the name of the channel, where there's a few videos. Even last session where Prof. Suhaiza gave a talk, the 14th series, if I'm not mistaken, about CE.
The last session on the 14th.
Yeah. So
okay, Mr. Moderator, I would love to share my contact, my email, if anyone that would love to have more discussions, or
and maybe a
can just share.
maybe a parting advice or words from you.
My what again?
Apa? Kata-kata akhir.
Oh, kata-kata akhir. Yeah, to have this sustainable living, right? So go back to the root. Where are the problems? Then improve it. At the end, we will have this sustainable living, which actually everywhere we are talking about now. With this pandemic, again, people, society, nation, all need to be coherent, towards this agenda.
Okay, thank you, bro. So if anything, how do they contact you, bro?
Okay, you can email me to shmz@um.edu.my. That's my email. shmz@um.edu.my. I love to have some more sharing sessions, to talk about this CE and how we go about and share with the industry. That would be very good if you can have that opportunity.
Yeah, would love to and look forward to it, bro. So on that note, I guess we have to end the session. But for if you're interested to get to know more, you can email Prof. Suhaiza at the email, or even ask MPC Sustainability Unit, where they can provide you with a PDF of today's slide. So thank you so much to Prof for her wonderful insight, wonderful information. Would love to hear it again in the future. So good day, take care, and see you again in the future. Thank you, inshallah. Assalamualaikum. Goodbye.
Thank you, Prof. and Cik Saidi, and also thank you to all attendees to support our webinar. Thank you. See you soon.